Hello creatives. Right, so here is the video that we promised you. If you watched the show today on the craft store, I had the pleasure of bringing to you these brand new stamps from That's Crafty, and the one, well, you can see this one there, it's the one of two called Serenity. And what we didn't have a chance to actually show you the complete project, so the way that I did the frame and also the outer edge. I only had chance to actually show you the stamped image and the paper piecing, and then just that little bit of decoration. So what I thought was it would be a good idea to do a quick video, well, a video showing you the process of actually what I did and how we came about this super little textured bit around the edge of the actual stamped image. So of course we could use this for any of our projects. It's just a really cool way of creating some texture. So this was a finished project, and hopefully if you caught the show you enjoyed it. So what we're going to do is just going to bring in, this is the shrine. So these are available from That's Crafty. From That's Crafty UK, and they actually they come in different formats. So you can see the one that we're actually using. I made this up. It does it gives you the instructions of how to actually make the shrine up, really quite straightforward. And I've just used my That's Crafty, well used, as you can see, multi-purpose craft glue, which I use all the time because it is so easy, because we can use it for everything. So you can see there it's got a lovely deep aperture in it, so we've got this fantastic area that we can actually use to create lots of interest. So you can see at the bottom you've got two pieces, so of course it will stand as is, so that really creates a nice piece, or of course you could hang it on a wall if you so wished. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and actually paint all of it using one of the multi-surface paints. It's actually the Apricot. Yours will come with a lovely label. Mine's fallen off, and it's a lovely base to actually start the colouring. So I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to pop back. Okay, so I have painted all the inside and all round. You don't really need to paint all the inside, but it's easier just to paint it, and then you know it's actually covered, so you know how much you're going to do. And then just around the edges, and if you are just sanding it on its own, just make sure that you paint the back. Well, I would paint the back anyway, and then if you're giving it to somebody, it's all nice and finished. Right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to create this texture here around the edge. Okay, and to do that we have got the texture sand paste, which we all know and love. Of course, everything is available from That's Crafty on their website, and as we all know, fantastic service. Okay, and what I'm going to use is I'm going to use this stencil. Now this was one of 4 new ones that we had on the show, and this the number on this one is 680, so it's TC 680 if you want to have a look on the website for this, and it's a 6" by 6" stencil. I love these because they've got a really good border around it as well, and of course don't forget you've got that little hole there if you want to put some rings around to actually keep them all together. So I thought by turning it round like this, you've got the shape of a fish. That's my thinking, but you know, you just go with the flow, and use another stencil if you got it at home. Palette knife, and as always just put the texture paste on the back of the palette knife. Now it is a little bit more difficult to fasten a stencil down when you're doing it on something like this. So I find if you just hold it nice and flat in place, okay, and then we just keep going around the edge like so. Excuse my hands, just in focus, sorry. Here we go. You can hear that lovely texture going on. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to carry on around the edge and then finish that off, and I'll come back in a second. Okay, so that's got that almost dry. Could do with a little tiny bit more, but I want to press on and show you the next stage. So what I've also done is I have popped some of the texture sand paste inside as well, but to give it a little bit more texture, I've actually added some of the gritty bits from That's Crafty, and all I do is just pop, let's have a look, just pop a little bit of the extra gritty bits into the sand paste. There we go. So you've got that really gritty bit there, or you can see that going on, and just lay it on. There we go. Don't be too worried about how that's going to go in there, because that's exactly the idea that you are looking for. Okay, so you don't want it smooth, obviously, and you don't want it all covered, because you want it to have lots of layers and lots of texture. Now at the moment I'm not too worried about this section here, because we're going to add let's try and turn it up the right way around. We're going to add lots of detail and add that add some shells and some bits and pieces to that as well. Okay, so what we're going to do is we are going to now just give that a quick dry. I'll just do that very quickly. Just can continue with showing you. There we go, just a quick dry there. And then what we're going to do, we're going to actually spray. There we go, just pop the lid on everything so we don't have any mishaps. So we're going to just spray some now I tell you what I used. You'll have seen me use these lots of times on the craft store, and always available, all being well, on the That's Crafty website. So it's the Walnut Ink Crystals. So what you've got is you've got the tiny crystals, you mix them with water, so say approximately a teaspoon in about this much of water, and it creates a stain. And I'm just going to spray. Okay, so I'm on a glass mat, so it will just wipe up, no problem at all. So just spraying that over and all inside of the project. Okay, so if you just give me a minute, I'll give that a dry, and then we can pop back and continue. So there you go. You can see now the walnut, which has been dissolved in the water, has gone lovely into the crevices of where the sand texture paste was, and also into the various texture bits. It really is super. Sometimes you need to do a couple of layers, so give it one spray round first, dry it, and then give it another one, depending on how dark or how light that you want it. Okay, so we've got our stone effect and all the way around our frame now. And now what we want to do is, I'll just bring in the original here, we now want to create this lovely effect around the edges. So what we're going to use is, we're actually going to use our acrylic liquid wax. So as you know, this is such a brilliant product, only available from That's Crafty. It's one of their hero products in my opinion, and we're going to use it for something a little bit different to what you've maybe seen me do before. And I'm actually going to pull it into the sides of the actual frame. Now I'm not going to go into right into the middle, because it really isn't necessary, and that really would be wasting my wax. So you can see here what I'm doing is I'm actually placing it and then just sort of dabbing it around. It does need to be not too thick, but reasonably pulled, and then that's going to give you that lovely crackle appearance when it all dries. Now I'm also just going up slightly up the edges there, so there we go. So you can see now where I've just gone around, okay, just the edges there, and then I'm going to bring in my pearl ink. Now this is the blue one. You can see it's well loved. Now what I'm not going to actually give it a really good stir. I'm just going to give it a little bit of a shake because I don't want too much of the pearl being disturbed. So it's ideal if you just leave it to sit. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take some of the ink on a clean brush and just literally drip the ink. Now it looks as if you're using a lot, but actually you're not. What's happening is when it goes into the wax, it's dispersing, so you're actually not using a great deal at all. So don't worry about that. There we go. Look, so just agitate it a little bit around the edges into the wax. Okay, so just take any excess off your brush at this time, because what we're going to do is we're just going to just work it a little bit up the edges. Okay, just with, I've just got a little flat brush here, as you can see. Don't worry if it drips into the middle, because of course your picture, stamped picture, is going to be into the middle there. If it runs too much, just grab it and just push it up the sides a little bit, like I'm doing just there. So let's just put a tiny bit in that corner there. There we go, because it didn't look a great deal. Now at this moment in time, you must think, oh dear, it looks a bit messy, but be assured the picture is going to go over this, so it's going to look quite nice when it's done. Right, so you can see there, you've got a little bit of the pearl going on, but not too much. So pop your lid on your paint, because these little pots are easily, there we go, easily spilt. If you need to, you can just dribble a little bit more of the wax in areas if you don't think you've got enough. Okay, obviously don't put that back in there like I was just about to do, because all that wax in there will then be blue. Okay, so now what we need to do, we need to take our gritty bits again, and we need to just shake a few out and just embed into the wax. Now this will act as an adhesion for the gritty bits as well. So once they're actually gone into the wax, they will stay. If there's any loose bits, just knock them down. Okay, now we need to actually dry this for quite a while now. So I would suggest you either put it into, we've got a warming cabinet which we use for our Powertex projects. So we're going to pop it into there, and I'll time the length of that it's in there. And when we come back, I'll let you know how long it's took. Okay, so won't be too long, and we'll be popping back. So there we go. We timed it, and it took about 10 minutes in the drying cabinet. So I think that if you used a heat tool and put it on a lower setting, I think maybe about 6 to 8 minutes possibly, and it will actually dry just the same as what this has done. So I'm going to bring it up. Can we just, that's it, can we see that? Mm-hmm. Okay, so what we've got now is we've got obviously the combination of the inks and the wax, and it looks like we've got a glass paint which is absolutely fabulous. And as you can see, it's absolutely rock hard. All the gritty bits have actually sunk into the actual wax and the ink combination and is stuck in there, no problem. And you've got these fantastic textures of these the crackles coming through as well. Now, I found with the first one that I did that actually when it came out and it was still a little bit warm, it crackled a little bit more, so it might even crackle that little bit more while it's actually cooling down. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to do a little bit of emphasizing the edges, a little bit of dry brushing. Okay, so we've got a couple of colours, and we're using the multi-surface paint, the metallic antique gold. Okay, and I'm just taking a little bit out the lid. Just using my block just to put a little bit onto there. And as you can see, just a dry brush here. And then I've got my towel. Just take a little bit off the brush, so you literally have got just that little bit on your brush, so you're not overdoing it, because if you overdo it, it's a shame, because you then need to go over with a paler colour, and it's a shame. So it does go an awful long way as well. You can see we only have the tiniest bit on a brush, but keep brushing until you literally haven't got any more left on it, and no more is actually coming off the brush. So just take a little bit more, pop it onto, I'm just using a block here, just take a little bit off onto a piece of paper towel or a towel, and then just dry brush. You can hear the dry brushing. Now, I would suggest you don't and I'm laughing because obviously this isn't my best brush. I would suggest you don't use your best brush for this, because you are going to splay out the brush, as you can see, a little bit. And I do tend to use one of my scruffier brushes for this. Okay, because the sand texture paste is very textured. It's quite rough, which it is supposed to be. So you don't want to damage a really good quality brush. So you can see I'm just doing the sides now, and go down to the almost to the just the tip of the blue, so that you're not making too much of a distinctive line. It's blending in quite nicely. And again, just a little bit of dry brushing. You can see that texture on this side is really lovely. There we go. Just put a little bit on most of the places, and of course where it's really textured, just literally brush over the top, so you're getting various bits of dimension and interest. So just going all the way around with the gold. Okay, so that's just a couple of little loose bits there, just knock them out. There we are. So just to do another little bit of dry brushing, I'm just taking the white. So this is the multi-surface paint, the white. Okay, again, just popping it onto my block, just taking off the excess, and just tickling the surface a little bit. Now what you can do is you can also do this around the edges of the frame on the outside and on the back, so that it all matches together. I've not done that on the video, but you will be able to do that in your own time. Okay, just need a little bit more just on the inside. Don't overdo the white, because you want that lovely gold just to come through, but you also want it to look like the water has sprayed up, giving that nice Nice look to the eye for your project. So there we go. So that's the antique gold. You can either use the antique gold or the metallic gold, whichever you prefer. If you want a little bit more of a yellowy gold, then that's the antique gold. I class this as more of a bronzy gold, the actual metallic antique one that I'm using. There we go. So I'm going to leave it at that. I'm just going to bring in the original one just to talk you through. So basically what we've done now is you'll have seen on the programme how we've done this. We've actually stamped out the image several times and paper pieced it. If you didn't catch the programme, then have a little look on a rewind. You should be able to catch it on there. Okay, and then all I've done is I've just used some textured string, okay, and just glued it down, and then just some moulds that I've got of shells, or you can pick shells up that's already been done if you're lucky enough to live near a beach, obviously not abroad, because I don't think we're supposed to do that anymore, but just locally, just a few little bits and pieces would be quite nice in here, or little bits of wood if you've got it, just to give it a little bit of interest just at the base of your picture. You can see I've got a little seahorse there as well, but whatever you've got, just pop it at the bottom. And just to finish it off, you'll see I've put some wax onto some of the clouds and also onto the boat, and also I've used the 3D holographic gel medium to just bring it up there, just to put on the actual water there, to give it that little hint of the sunshine just popping over the waves there. Absolutely stunning stamps. I really have enjoyed using them. I'm going to just bring in the set of stamps just to show you. So we've got this one that we've obviously been working on, and exactly the same size, but in this design with this lovely lady with this beautiful golden hair. So you can do exactly the same thing with regards to the paper piecing, and then obviously decorate the frame as you wish according to what you want it to be. Okay, so that's this Serenity stamp set. If you wasn't able to catch it on the programme, it is available from That's Crafty UK, so pop along and have a little look. And I hope you've enjoyed just going through how we've actually done the framework and the inside of the frame. Have a little go at that little technique. It's really quite easy, and I think it's quite effective. Okay, thank you, and hope to see you again soon.